You ever wonder how normal, everyday people actually build life-changing wealth from the stock market? Well, I can tell you, it's almost never how you see it in the movies. The real path to millions? It doesn't start with some lucky break. Nope. It starts with pretty much nothing.
In fact, the journey to $1 million, it rarely kicks off with a trust fund or some big inheritance. The goal isn't to hit the lottery overnight. It's about building that wealth on purpose, step by step, right from the ground up.
And you don't need some fancy business degree or a background in finance to get started. Honestly, most of the really successful investors, they began in the exact same spot we all do. A little curious, maybe a bit intimidated, but just ready to learn.
And forget about special connections. We're not talking about insider tips or secret handshakes here. Success in this game isn't about being in some exclusive club. It's about understanding just one powerful lesson, a lesson that completely levels the playing field for every single one of us. Yeah, that's really the key. Just one powerful lesson that, if you give it enough time, can change everything. It's what separates the people who struggle from the people who build real, lasting wealth. But before we get to what that lesson is, we have to talk about the biggest lie in investing.
All right, let's dive into it. The big investing lie. And I'm telling you, this is the trap that catches almost every single beginner. It makes them lose money, it makes them lose confidence, because it's the story we're all told about how investing is supposed to work, and it's just completely wrong.
So let me ask you, what do most beginners think investing is? Like, when you picture a successful investor, what comes to mind? Probably someone staring at a bunch of screens, frantically watching charts, making these split-second decisions, right? I mean, that's the image we always see in the movies, and it is so misleading.
This is the classic beginner's playbook, right? This constant, really stressful hunt for that one perfect stock that's just going to explode. It's this fantasy of timing the market just right, buying at the absolute low point and selling at the absolute peak. This whole idea of getting rich fast, it's just a recipe for disaster.
And this brings us to a really hard truth. Making real, life-changing money in stocks is, well, it's boring. It's not exciting. It's not some high-speed chase. It's slow. It's steady. And because it's boring, most people just quit. They want that thrill, and in the end, they lose the game.
Okay, so if that exciting, fast-paced way is wrong, then how does money really grow? Let's just wipe the slate clean here and look at the simple, fundamental truth behind it all. And trust me, it's way simpler than you probably think. Look, there are really only three ways you make money from stocks. It's pretty straightforward. First, the stock price goes up. Simple enough, right? You buy a little piece of a great company, and as that company grows and becomes more valuable, your piece does too. Second, the company pays you dividends. They're literally sharing their profits directly with you because you're an owner. But that third one, that's the secret ingredient. Time. That's it. Time is what does all the heavy lifting for you. It's what gives good companies the room to grow. It's what lets your dividends compound on themselves over and over, and it's what smooths out all those scary ups and downs in the market. Time is, without a doubt, the most powerful force in investing, and yet it's the one thing most people completely ignore.
Okay, but knowing how it works, that's only half the battle. Seriously, having the right psychology, the right mindset is what really decides if you're going to succeed. And that means making a really important shift into the one winning mindset.
And here is that critical shift in thinking. You see, the beginner, their focus is all on making millions. It's all offense, They're trying to hit a home run with every swing. But the winner, their focus is on defense. Their number one rule is incredibly simple. Don't lose money. So here's the bottom line. If you could just avoid the big, catastrophic mistakes, we're talking about chasing those hype stocks or panic selling when the market dips or trying to get rich quick, if you can just avoid that stuff, you are already way ahead of pretty much everyone else. Success isn't about finding the one magic winner. It's about consistently avoiding the obvious ways to lose.
And all of this leaves us with one last, pretty personal question. Now that you know the real way to do this is slow and steady and, let's be honest, kind of boring, are you patient enough to actually succeed? Are you willing to trade all that excitement for actual results? Because your answer to that one question, that's what's going to determine your entire journey.
Okay, so let's talk about making millions from stocks. I want you to forget everything you think you know. It's not about some secret club or a complicated formula. It's actually about a few simple truths that, honestly, anyone can learn. And today, that's exactly what we're going to walk through. Let's get right into it. When I first started, I didn't have a bunch of money to throw around. I pretty much started with nothing. No special background, no connections on the inside. All I had was this desire to figure out how you actually build wealth from scratch. Kind of like what you see right here.
And what I found out was there's no secret password. Building real, life-changing money isn't like winning the lottery overnight. It's more of a step-by-step thing, where you learn how the system really works. And honestly, it's a lot simpler than most people think.
But before we can even start building, we've got to clear away all the junk, all the bad advice. See, there's this huge lie out there that trips up almost every single beginner. It's the main reason so many people give up. So let's just expose it for what it is. So what is that one big mistake? What's the trap that so many people fall into when they're just starting out? The one that makes them lose their hard-earned money?
Well, it's this belief that investing is all about excitement. It's trying to find that one perfect stock that's going to just shoot to the moon. Or it's this idea that you have to perfectly time the market, like catching a wave at just the right second. And the worst one, the belief that this is all some get-rich-quick scheme. That's the big lie. These are the mistakes that hold people back.
Now here's the crazy part. The truth is the complete opposite of that exciting lie. Making real, consistent money in the stock market is, well, it's boring. And that simple idea is exactly why most people fail. They're out there chasing fireworks when they should just be looking for slow, steady growth.
Okay, so if it's not about thrilling, fast-paced trades, then how is wealth really built? Let's switch gears and break it down into its simplest, most powerful parts.
Look, it really boils down to just three things, three ways you make money in stocks. First, the obvious one. The price of the stock goes up. You buy it, it becomes worth more. Simple. Second, you get dividends. That's when the company just gives you a slice of their profits. And then there's the third one, the one everybody seems to forget, and that's time.
That's really it. The price going up, dividends, and time. But out of those three, there's one that is so incredibly powerful, and yet, most beginners completely, totally ignore it.
Time, it is, without a doubt, the most powerful force for building wealth. But it's the one thing we have no patience for. Time is what creates that compounding magic, turning small, regular investments into millions. Just starting at age 25 instead of 35 can mean having hundreds of thousands of extra dollars when you retire. That's not a strategy, that's just math. It's like physics. So once you really understand the power of time, it all leads to this final, and I mean most crucial piece of the puzzle. And it's not a tactic you use, it's a complete shift in how you think about the whole thing.
So let me ask you this. When I started my own journey, from zero, I wasn't trying to make millions. I wasn't trying to hit a home run. I put all of my focus on one single thing.
I was focused on not losing money. That was it. That was my number one rule. My goal was defense, not offense. It was all about protecting what I had, not about being aggressive. It sounds almost way too simple, I know, but this is the secret weapon of every single successful long-term investor. Because think about it. If you can just avoid the really big, dumb mistakes, the get-rich-quick stuff, the panic selling, betting everything on one thing, if you can just avoid those, you're already so far ahead of almost everybody else. Winning this game isn't about hitting home runs. It's about not striking out.
So I'm going to leave you with this question to really think about. As you start your own journey, what's your real goal? Are you trying to get rich? Or are you trying, first and foremost, simply not to lose? Your answer to that one question, that's going to determine everything.
All right, let's talk about investing, but forget everything you think you know. The stress, the constant checking of stocks, that fear of missing out. We're going to replace all that noise with a system that's calm, focused, and honestly, way more powerful. It's a total shift in how you think about your money. Ready? Let's get into it. So I want to start with a crazy question. You hear all this talk about overnight millionaires and stocks going to the moon, right? But what if the first goal, what if the real goal, especially when you're starting out, wasn't about getting rich at all? What if it was about something else entirely? Seriously, this one little shift in how you see things, it changes everything. And that shift leads us right here to the foundation. Think about it. Before you can build a skyscraper, you need solid ground. It's the same with investing. This first part is all about protecting yourself from fear so you can actually make smart, clear-headed decisions when everyone else is freaking out. This is it. This is the big secret. Your first goal isn't to attack, it's to defend. The second your mindset changes to, okay, how do I not lose what I have? Everything changes. You stop chasing those crazy high-risk gambles. You stop making emotional bets. Your mind just calms down. And from that calm place, you can finally start to build something real. So you've got this solid foundation. Now what do you build on it? Well, you build a super simple, actionable blueprint, a plan that anyone, and I mean anyone, can follow. This isn't about some complicated formula. It's about building a powerful habit, one easy step at a time. Let's break it down. Here's the whole plan, right here. Step 1, start small. Seriously, $50, $100, the amount doesn't matter right now. What matters is building the habit. Step 2, invest in real companies. You know, businesses you actually get, the coffee you drink, the phone you use. We're talking about owning a tiny piece of the real world, not some random hype stock. And step 3, this is the big one, be consistent. You invest that small amount every week or every month like clockwork, rain or shine. That simple little act of being consistent, well, that's what flips the switch on the most powerful force in all of finance. It's the catalyst, the secret sauce that takes your small, boring, repeated actions and turns them into something huge over time. You know, at first, it's not going to look like much. Your little investments just kind of sit there. It feels slow. But then, almost without you noticing, something starts to happen. The little bit of money your investments make, it starts making its own money. A tiny snowball starts to roll. And that process has a name. It's the quiet magic behind pretty much all long-term wealth. It's called compounding. It's where your money starts growing on itself. See, this isn't about being lucky. It's not about being a genius. It is just the simple, beautiful math of what happens when time and consistency meet. So this is where it gets real. Every single person who invests, that includes you, is standing at a fork in the road. You've got a choice to make between two totally different ways of thinking. And trust me, the path you pick will define your entire future. Okay, look at the left side. That's the beginner's path. It's pure emotion. You're chasing cheap stocks, you're panicking and selling the second things dip, and then you just quit because you think the game is rigged. Now, look at the right. That's the smart investor. See how calm it is? This path is all about discipline, staying consistent, ignoring the day-to-day noise, and always, always thinking about years from now, not minutes from now. Now, if you want to stay on that path to the right, you have to accept a hard truth. It's a reality that our whole get-it-now culture really doesn't want you to hear. But I'm telling you, accepting this is the very thing that will save you from giving up. There it is. Plain and simple. You are not going to be a millionaire next year. This system, it is not a lottery ticket. It is slow, it is steady, and it is deliberate. And you know what? Realizing that is the most freeing thing you can do for yourself. Because here is the other side of that coin. While you won't get rich quick, if you build these simple, consistent habits, it becomes almost impossible for you to stay broke either. You are literally building a machine for your own steady, unstoppable financial growth. And that brings us to the real point. What does winning at this actually look like? It's not about hitting some crazy number in your bank account. The real victory is mastering the principle. It's about building the system itself. So I want you to completely change where you're looking. Stop staring at that far-off goal of making millions. It's too far away. Instead, pour all of your energy into the one thing you can actually control today, building and sticking to your system. You do that, and the results will eventually take care of themselves. Because you have to understand, in the long run, the people who win this game aren't the ones with the highest IQs. They're not the ones with secret stock tips. They are simply the people who show up month after month and just stay consistent. That's it. That's the only edge that truly matters. Consistency always wins. So I'll just leave you with this one question. Don't think about climbing the whole mountain. Just think about the very next step. What is the first, small, super easy thing you can do, maybe even today, to start building your own system?